Hello and welcome to Ask A Web Geek. My name is CJ Gilbert, and you've joined us for episode number 18 of Ask A Web Geek, where we answer your questions on websites, marketing, social media, email campaigns, whatever is holding you back in your business this week. We're coming to you live from the web cave inside the web jungle, here to answer your questions. We've got a couple really great questions today from our studio audience, so we're going to talk about that, and I want to tell you all about it. We're going to do kind of a quick show. It's Thanksgiving week, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to have a show this week, but we decided to because I had some really great questions. So no show next week, the first week of December, but we'll have shows after that. So please keep your questions coming, and we'll invite you. Just before the show got started, we were playing with our featured animal of the week, which is one of my live spiders over here. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out as far as what you could see or not, so I've just saved that for the Facebook group. Come join our Facebook group if you want to see pictures and want to see the beginning of this show where we were playing around with that spider mini. So we invite you to do that, and I'll have links and details to come. AskAWebGeek.com is where you can come to do that. So thanks so much for being here this morning. Let's jump right in. I got a lot to tell you, and I want to make this as quick of a show as possible so I don't spend all weekend editing. That was my wife's request. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's do it. Ask a Web Geek with CJ Gilbert. I'm your web safari guide as we go through the wilds of the internet. Hi, Pam. Thanks for joining. I see that you just popped in. Glad you're here just in time. Ask a Web Geek with CJ Gilbert. We answer all of your questions. We ask you, what would you like to ask a web geek? I've been a web developer for so many years. I teach people that their website is their number one tool to grow and support their business. And if they're thinking of it like that, they can use it to attract more customers, make more sales, enhance their customer service, increase their efficiency. All these things add up to save time, save money, and help you serve your clients better, faster, and easier. While on the road to doing that, people always had extra questions, and that's why I decided to make this show where you could ask those extra questions. How do I use this website? How do I upload this photo here? How do I do this, that, or the other thing? You're in the right place. And I want to say congratulations. You are here because you want to improve your business, and you're taking steps to do so. I want to take just a minute and tell you to acknowledge you. Give yourself a pat on the back and say, good job. Good job for being here this morning or whenever you hear this. That's the beauty of the internet. You can watch this later on YouTube, on Facebook, or listen as a podcast. If you're listening to me later as a podcast, I want to say good for you. Take just a minute, acknowledge you. You are improving your business, improving your life. There's only a small percentage of people that do that, and I acknowledge you, and I want to congratulate you for being here this morning. I also want to let you know it's the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm super thankful for you to be here. You know, I don't have a special slide to say this, so I'll just say it right now. Thank you so much for helping us out with the show, for being a part of it, for being part of our community, for asking questions, for answering questions. I really appreciate everyone's involvement, and I'm so thankful and grateful that I'm able to do this show for you and that all of you have showed up to help me with the show. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making the community what it is, and I really appreciate it. We're helping each other, and we're helping people grow in their business, and I'm super excited about that. So thanks so much. Ask a Web Geek. Let me tell you how it works. Join our Facebook group. That's where we do the live taping of the show every Wednesday. It's going to switch up a little bit here come December for the holidays, but usually we go live into the Facebook group every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and that's where we do the live taping of the show. And then the following weekend, that show gets released to YouTube, where you can watch it again there, and it's also a podcast, so you can listen along with it later. And if you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter and tweet along with the show. Let us know what you're listening, what I just said, what made you laugh, what you agree with, and of course, if you have any follow-up questions at all. Disclaimer, this is a public show. I'm talking about these things publicly, so I want to make sure that anything you ask me, it's okay if I answer publicly. If we need to protect your password fields, of course we'll do that. If you want us to protect some other information on the back of your website, of course we'll do that too. Just let me know if there's anything you're concerned about. Otherwise, I'm going to assume everything we're talking about is fair game, and I want to be as transparent as possible so everyone can see how everything is done so they can do it later on their own. This is not legal or professional advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I do not have those credentials. I'm a web geek. I know a lot about the internet and about the tools we can use online, but you need to have a professional and legal counsel in your life, in your business. So do make sure to consult with your attorney, with your CPA before making any business changes. Remember, you accept responsibility for everything. Who am I? I'm CJ Gilbert. I'm a web geek. I've been a web geek for over 20 years, and now I'm a speaker and author, and I teach business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, speakers, coaches, and authors how to think of their website like a tool so they can improve their whole business. You see, I believe that my business is here to serve your business, and I can help you do more business, and I can help you do better business, and that's what we're here to do. Be on the lookout for your golden nugget. I believe that every time you watch this show or you listen to it or you read my book or you watch one of my videos, you learn something new, even if you watch the same thing over and over again, especially if you watch the same thing over and over again. It's just the way our brains work. We are tuned to find something new. Our filters are different. So when you come back a week later and watch the same show, you're going to get something new and different out of it just because you're in a different place and you're ready for something else. So just be on the lookout. That's all you have to do. I would say grab some paper, draw a line right down the middle. On the left-hand side is where you can make your stream of consciousness notes as I'm talking through everything. But in the right-hand column, that gives you a place to write down those action steps. Those steps you want to move very quickly on. Go in the right-hand column and make sure to star those golden nuggets as you find them. Ask a Web Geek, sponsored this week by a few things. Number one, The Active Life Company. I was just texting Melissa right as the call got started here. TheActiveLifeCompany.com is sponsoring our show this week, and I invite you to go check out their website. It's at TheActiveLifeCompany.com. Melissa was one of the first people to give me a mug with her logo on it, and therefore become one of the first sponsors, first official paid sponsors of the show. So Melissa, thank you for your mug. Here it is right here, Active Life Company. I'm drinking my coffee out of it right now as we speak, and I want to encourage you to go check out her website, TheActiveLifeCompany.com. She sells an all-natural skin protectant, and do you know what she did? She made a special code, a special discount code just for our community. I didn't ask her to do that. She just did it because she's a part of our community and she wanted to give back. She's received value from the show and she wants to give back to you, the community. So you can use this special code right here, Web Geek. All one word, all uppercase, we're pretty sure. Web Geek, WEBGEEK, and you can use that code anytime to get 15% off your purchase of her all-natural skin protectant. Go check it out at theactivelifecompany.com and use this product in your active life as you're out in the sun. When you get out of your web cave or whatever kind of cave you live in, make sure that you're protected, you're covered by theactivelifecompany.com. Thanks, Melissa. Also want you to check out my free video workshop, mywebsitesafari.com. A couple years ago, I wrote this book right here, 5 Golden Keys to Sharpen Your Website. And I did this after talking with hundreds of different business owners about their websites and their business. And I discovered most business owners know they need a website, but they have no idea what to do with it. And that's what led me to write this book right here, 5 Golden Keys to Sharpen Your Website. But I know you're a busy business professional. You may not have time to read a book, even a little teeny thin book like this one, only 70 pages, available at Amazon, 5keysbook.gilbertstudios.com. 5keysbook.gilbertstudios.com is the shortcut to that. Or you can just sign up for my free course right here at mywebsitesafari.com. There's 7 videos. They're less than 10 minutes each, and it allows you to take a bite-sized piece to work on your business, work on your website, which is working on your business. So I encourage you to do that and ask me any follow-up questions right here on Ask a Web Geek. It's going to walk you through how to improve your search, your sales, and your service. And once you start thinking of your website as a vehicle to do those things, you're going to get all kinds of new ideas. So go right here, mywebsitesafari.com, flip through those videos, take a few minutes, 10 minutes at a time, guys, not a lot of your time, to think about how to change your whole business strategy using your website and these online tools. And then you're going to have more ideas and you're going to have more questions, and you can come right back here to Ask a Web Geek to ask all those questions, and we'll answer them for you. So buckle up. We're going to dive deeper into the jungle. I've got some really great questions for us to go over today. But first, I want to remind you about an important resource. And that resource is right here underneath our featured topic of the week. I did it last week, but it's so important, I want to mention it again. Plan your best year ever. My sales mentor, Eric Lofholm, puts on this free class every year on how to create your best year yet. He's going to walk you through how to create your 2020 sales and marketing plan. One of the best things you can do to get ready for 2020 is to create a written sales and marketing plan. Eric Lofholm offers a 3-part course on exactly how to do this. The classes are December 5th, 10th, and 12th. They're at 4 p.m. Pacific, but they are recorded. So if you cannot make it to the live call, go sign up anyway, because you're going to be able to get all the recordings, all the resources and training materials absolutely free. Use my special link to get there. It's 2020plan.gilbertstudios.com. 2020plan.gilbertstudios.com. That'll take you to this special landing page, which you see here to the right, and you can just pop in your name and email, and he's going to send you all the links and details. You'll get a special link on how you can join the live class, and if you're not able to do that any of the 3 days, join any of the ones you can, but if not, you're also going to get a link to the recording and to all the training material. And even if you're listening to this or watching this after those dates of December 5th, 10th, and 12th, it's no problem. The material is still there. It's not too late. Go to this link, sign up, get the free class, put together your sales and marketing plan, even if you're already a month or 2 or 3 or 6 or 12 months into the 2020. It doesn't matter. You need this material, so jump in right now. Now is the perfect moment. Now is when you're hearing me talk about it. So now is when you should take action. Go to 2020plan.gilbertstudios.com. Plan your best year ever. Highly recommend it. I'll be there. And I encourage you to be there too. All right, it is now time to Ask a Web Geek. I'm really excited about these 2 fantastic questions. And you may have follow-up questions as we go through these. It's kind of the way these things work, right? I do my absolute best to answer your question and to give you as much information as I can without giving you too much information. It's quite the tricky balancing act, because the way these things work is they're often very complicated, and questions lead to more questions, which lead to more questions, which lead to more questions. So I'll do my best in this moment to give you the answers I can, and yet I understand you're gonna have more questions, and that's totally okay. There is no such thing as a stupid question, especially when we're talking about technology and tools that can help your business. If you don't know something, that means there's at least a dozen other people that don't know the same thing, and they're asking it, and they're waiting for you to ask it. And so it's like we're all sitting in a classroom. Have you ever had that experience? And you're like, man, I don't understand what the teacher just said, but if I ask about it, they're gonna think I'm an idiot. You know what? It's the exact opposite. If you ask the question, 8 people behind you are going to go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she asked that question, because I thought I was the only one that didn't understand. So if that's you, please don't hesitate to ask me any follow-up questions about any of these topics at all. Okay? Is it a deal? I'll share with you what I can, but I need you to ask me those extra questions to tell you what else to tell you about. And I also don't want to overwhelm you with too much information in this moment. So it's a tricky balancing act we have to play. So help me out. I'll help you out. We'll do the best we can. These are all the questions we've already gone over. Check out last week's show, episode 17, where I did a full refresher of everything we've gone over in the first 16 episodes of the show. It's a great place for you to start. I also want to ask you to come to our Facebook group, Ask A Web Geek, and jump in on these conversations already going on. We have excellent conversations, people asking questions about these tools, project management, customer relationship, PR web, offline tools and resources. If you have any answers or ideas for any of these, please come to our Facebook group and jump in and share with the group your ideas, your experiences with any of those tools. We'd really like to know. Here's our first question of the week for Ask a Web Geek. Are you ready? It comes to us by Kim. And Kim says, "Hi, CJ. I hope you're well. I have a question for the Web Geek. You may have already covered this. Not really, so glad you asked, Kim. My WordPress site says it is not secured at the top. How do I make it secured? Is this something through the website or the domain? If you already covered this in an episode, which one? If not, maybe it's an idea to cover. Thanks, CJ." Kim, that's a fantastic question. That's like the perfect kind of question for us. I'm so glad you asked this. This is a big deal these days, and I want to tell you what she's talking about. So let's take a field trip, first of all, over to a website where I can show you that that's actually happening. So bear with me as I switch my screens. What do I need? I need my browser window. Let's jump over to my browser. All right, so let's do the large version first, okay? And then I need to find it on my side. The Web Geek is playing with Windows. Okay, so here, you can see my cursor now? Good. Okay, so here on the Ask a Web Geek website at askawebgeek.com, I'm using the Chrome browser. And do you see right here next to the web address, there's a little teeny lock? This lock lets you know that my website is secure. Now, this is something that in the last 20 years, it was only really important if you were accepting someone's private information or their credit card information. Let me say that again. This little piece of your website, having a secured website, was really only important on an order page where we were accepting someone's credit card or a place where they're submitting sensitive information like their login details, that kind of a thing. That's typically where we used this kind of a secure site before. And if you just had an information only site, you really didn't need it. That has changed over the last year as Google has made it much more obvious when a website is not secure. Let's find a website really quick that's not secure. Okay, so this is a site that's been closed. So this is a great example. Can you see right up here next to the name, it says not secure. Again, this is new. This is something that Google has only started showing people recently, not secure. And so that's causing some people to freak out. What? Your website isn't secure? Well, this is a really tricky thing because it's like it's not. I wouldn't say your website is not secure. I would say it's not secure. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean that your website is insecure. It doesn't mean that your website is it's got like bots or spam or like it's going to hurt people to use it. It doesn't mean that. It just means that it does not have a security certificate installed and protecting the website in that way. So it's scaring people because all of a sudden the browser's saying not secure on all these websites. It's like, what's that about? That's new. Google just added that, and that's why you're seeing that. But it's becoming more and more important. So I used to recommend that that's something that we only worried about if you were accepting credit card transactions, if you had a member login area, and it wasn't something that you really needed in a normal website. Well, things have changed, and this is something I'm now recommending on all websites. So Kim's saying her WordPress site is now showing this. I know, Kim, it's new, right? And it's kind of frustrating because it can make people say, what? This website isn't secure? How do we fix it? That's Kim's question. Well, there's two pieces to it. There's two things that you're going to need to make this happen. So the first one is involved in your website hosting, and the second piece is on your website itself. Let me take you back to my slideshow here. So these are the two steps, Kim, and anyone else who wants to deal with this. The first step is you want to order the SSL certificate through your website hosting. So if you do your own website hosting or you have your own website hosting account, you need to log in and you need to find an area that's maybe it says secure hosting or add security. And it used to be that this is something that they charged extra for. As little as 5 years ago, This was something that the web host company would charge like at least $100 a year for. And that's something that I would pass on to my clients if we wanted to add that. It's $100 a year plus, pay me some amount of money to set it up for you, $50, $60, I don't know, whatever it was at the time. It's now something I'm automatically including for my websites. So if you start a new website with me or we set up your website hosting right now, it's something that I automatically include in all of my website hosting because it's something that's important. So if you don't already have that, you need to go into your website hosting software, dashboard, panel, control panel, and look for the place to order an SSL certificate. Now, hopefully, it's as easy as you log into the dashboard, you click the button that says add it and set it up, and they'll take care of all of that for you. Hopefully. If there's any other questions or it doesn't look as easy as that, let me know. Otherwise, I'm hoping at this point in time, they've made it as easy as you log in, you find the panel that says secure, you click the button that says add a secure certificate, and they'll take care of all the rest. They order the certificate, they set it up, they install it into your server, they authenticate it, they do all that stuff for you, and within minutes to hours, now your website will work with the S. Do you know what I'm talking about? HTTP. If we look at this, let's go back to the website. I don't know if you'll be able to see this really well, but this is another way you can tell. So if you click right up here at the top of this bar, you're going to see what's not showing it to me. But if I were to copy this out and paste it back in, you would see it's HTTP://. Whereas if we go over here to Ask a Web Geek, you'll see it's HTTPS:// askawebgeek.com. That little S is what means secure, and that's where it will now trigger the secure side. So only after that SSL certificate has been installed and set up will your website resolve to this S, HTTPS, and then it should show this little icon, this little lock icon. Now, sidebar, there's other the website, I've got so much to tell you all at one time. The website is composed of lots of little pieces. So if any of those little pieces are being pulled in from another website or they're manually being told to load in without the S, it's still going to show an error on your site that says some pieces are not secure. That could just be an image, and if you go in there to the image and tell it to load it secure, it'll fix that. Again, see what I mean about the follow-up questions? I try to give you information, and then there's all this extra stuff involved. Let me just step back and say the first step is to order the certificate from your website host. The second step is to force your website to always resolve to the S. You see, once the certificate is installed, your website could technically come up as the S version if someone specifically went to HTTPS, but it could also come up still as the insecure version if they specifically went to HTTP, whatever your website is. So once you've ordered the certificate and it starts working, both are working. So the second piece, let me take you back to my slide. The second piece is to force the S through your website. Now, you're only going to want to do this after you know the S is working, the security is working, and your website comes up as HTTPS. Once you see that happening, then you're ready to force your website to always go to the S. And there's a plugin I recommend that you can use for this in your WordPress site, and you can see it right here on my screen. It's called Really Simple SSL. So the way that you would add that to your WordPress site, Kim, and anyone else listening, is you would go into the plugin area of your website. She's asking about a WordPress website. You go into your backend dashboard, you go into plugins, you click Add New, you click Search, and you start typing. You could just type SSL, and this is the first one that's going to pop up. Rusty, knock it off. I'm doing a show. Really Simple SSL. That's the plugin. You can install it and activate it, and that's going to complete that second step. It's going to force your website to go to that secure page all the time. Now, again, if your website will not resolve to the S yet, you don't want to do this. You only want to do this after you know your website will come up as S. Okay, so that's the 1-2 step. Now, again, a lot of follow-up questions, a lot of details in there that you could want to know more about. So once again, you're going to order the certificate through your host, through your hosting dashboard, and then you're going to set it up on your website to force it to load that S after you know it's working. That's the 1-2 process. Let me know if you have any questions on that, because each one of those little steps could give you a hiccup or could give you a question as you go. How does that sound, studio audience? Any immediate follow-up questions for me on that one? I'm going to let you see this this slide one last time before we move on, and I'm going to take a sip of coffee. So here's the 2 steps to do this. Okay, so our next question, hopefully that's helping someone. So let me know if you have follow-up questions. Our next question is from Adana. She asks, CJ, not sure if you covered this already. I work with a nonprofit who wants low-cost email services. We already have a domain name and a web page hosted through Wild Apricot, but they don't do email hosting. Any recommendations or guidance on what to look for? Thanks. Great question, Adana. Really glad that you asked this. This is a great moment to say, in our previous shows, we talked a little bit about some of these pieces. There's 3 pieces. We talked about the first 2. This is the 3rd piece. So thank you, Adana, for prompting me to talk about this. So you've got your domain name. That's the address for your website. That's your .com. You've got your website hosting. That's where your website lives on the internet. And then you've got your email services. Now, the reason that this is item number 3 is it could be provided through your website host, but it's possible that it's not. In fact, I would say at this point in time, you don't want your email provided from your website host anymore. It used to be the way that we did it, but now I believe a web server should be used for websites and not for email because of all the other stuff that's involved. The attachments and the sizes of files, and you don't want your email sitting on a web host and building up over time, and your mailbox gets bigger and bigger. It is better to use one of the professionals that are out there. Let me take you into the next slide here. And I've got a couple options. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the 2 answers. Donna, I'm going to give you the 2 big answers that you can take right back to your team and get going on it. And then I'm also going to give you a 3rd kind of free tip for those that can do this. And Donna, you may not be able to do this 3rd piece. So just try to focus on the first 2 pieces. So I would say there's 2 major players in this space. You've got Microsoft and you've got Google. If you already have a preference, which one of those you want to go with, go for it. They're both fantastic services. So on one side, you've got Microsoft Exchange, and they are now offering a monthly payment program depending on how many of their services that you want. You could just get the mail service all by itself, and I want to say that starts at like $5 per month per mailbox. And you could just set that up and you could just get the email. By the way, that's called Exchange, Microsoft Exchange. So you can sign up for their Office 365 suite, which gives you a whole bunch of their software. So if that's something that you're already paying for or something that interests you, you could sign up for that suite of software and get Word and Excel and all those other pieces. And it might also come with the Microsoft Exchange, which is the email piece of that. So that's up to you. Do you want all the software? You want Word and Excel also? Or you just want the email piece, which is Microsoft Exchange? Starts at $5 a month and goes up from there, depending on how much of the other software you want. So if you enjoy Microsoft, you're used to using Outlook, you're used to using those kind of programs, and you want to keep doing that, or you enjoy that software bundle, then I would say go with Microsoft. That would be the option for you there. On the other side, we've got Google, we've got Gmail, and I'm a huge fan of Google. I switched from Outlook to Google probably 10, 15 years ago at some point, and I love it. And so for you, I would recommend that you look into Google's package, which is now called G Suites. G Suites. This is where you're paying Google, and I want to say it's $4 to $5 a month also per name, per email box. So this is where Google is now running your email, and their G Suites package also includes all of their Google software. So that includes their Docs, Sheets, which is their versions of Word and Excel, except it's their Google Drive version, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and there's a whole bunch of other suite of software that's included with that, Calendar, all of those pieces. So it's up to you whether you prefer the Microsoft bundle of software or the Google bundle of software. They're both excellent, and I have no reservation in recommending either one to you. Now, in order to do that, there's going to be some settings that you need to set up in your website host. This is how it works. Your domain name is provided by some company, and then inside that control panel, it directs it to the website host. So everything comes through your name and then goes to your website host to show your website. And then there's some more settings that need to happen to direct it over to your email piece. So you may have follow-up questions on this. As you're setting up your Microsoft account, as you're setting up your Google account, there's going to be a step where it tells you what settings you need to add to your domain name. You may need to do this in your domain name area or your website hosting area, depending on how that's set up. Please reach out to me. Let me know if I can help you with the specifics on this. But this is how it works. You're going to order the service from either Google or Microsoft, and as part of that setup process, they're going to give you the code, the DNS information that you need to plug in to either your domain name or your website hosting, depending on how it's set up. Probably your website hosting. Usually the domain name goes into the website hosting, and then you can configure your email to go over there, depending on which one of these services you use. So ask me your follow-up questions. See what I mean, guys? Questions lead to other questions, lead to other questions. So the bottom line, Adana, is I would recommend going with the Microsoft products or the Google products. If you have a preference, go for it. They're both excellent. They're both about $5 per month per domain name. My personal preference, if you said, CJ, I don't have any preference between the two, which one do you like? I'm a huge fan of both. I've used Microsoft for years and years. I'm using a Microsoft computer, Microsoft Windows, but I use Google and Gmail an awful lot these days, so I'd probably recommend Google and the Gmail and the G Suites. Okay, that's my official answer. Now the answer to this question is officially over, and I'm going to give you some more information. So for my own clients, what I do, if I'm already offering them website hosting, what I can do is show them how to either create or use a free Gmail address that they're already using, and then we can send the mail through the website host. So what this does is allows them to continue to use their free Gmail that they may already have and be using and be full of email, and they can also still benefit from using the domain name, their .com. So when you send an email to me, CJ at AskAWebGeek.com, it comes into my Gmail account, and there it is. And then when I email you back, it's going to say it comes from CJ at AskAWebGeek.com. Or I could flip a little switch, and all of a sudden my email is coming from CJ at GilbertStudios.com. The reason that happens is because it's configured through my website host to use that domain name. I don't expect you to know how to do that. I don't expect you to do that piece of it. I just wanted to mention it as a third possibility. If you already have a website host that allows you to send mail through them, you can do it with a free Gmail account coupled with your website hosting. This may not work for Adana because she's saying this company she's using does not offer email. So she probably needs to use one of these other services, Microsoft Exchange or the Google G Suites. Does that answer your question, Adana? Please let me know. Let me know what follow-up questions you have. Let me know what else you need to learn about it. Let me give a shout out to a couple people jumping on. Julie, thanks for being here this morning. Really glad that you joined us. Katrin, thanks for jumping into the call. Really glad that you were here this morning. You'll get a kick out of it later when you hear this as a podcast in several weeks, and I was talking to you live on the call. That's going to give you a little mind warp situation. So those are our questions for the week. Weren't they fantastic? I just had to do a show for you today because those were amazing questions. But I invite you to please let me know, what are your follow-up questions to these? Because these topics, they always lead to more questions, and I totally understand how that happens. You see how I had so much more information I wanted to give you, but I didn't want to overwhelm you all at once with so much information. So I just invite you to give me your follow-up questions. Let me know what else you need, what else you're thinking. Hopefully that answers your question, at least to start, and then I can help you with the next step. Just take one step at a time. So Adana, please let me know if that answered your question about email. Kim, please let me know if that answered your question about the secure website. And I'm so glad that you're all here with me this morning. Woof woof, Katrin says. Yeah. She's applauding me with woof speak. Just want to mention one more time about the activelifecompany.com. Check out their website, and when you do, make sure that you use our special code WebGeek to save yourself 15% off her all-natural skin protectant. That's for your active Thanksgiving weekend. Make sure that you do that. And your active, everything that you're doing this holiday season. You're going to go skiing. You're going to go to the desert. What are you going to go do? You're probably going to need some skin protectant. So check that out, theactivelifecompany.com, and use this code WebGeek to save yourself 15% off. You're welcome, Katrin. She says, thank you for the time warp greeting. You're very welcome. I also want to encourage you to check out Eric Lofholm's free planning class, 2020plan.gilbertstudios.com. Sign up for his free class. You're going to get 3-hour classes with training, with ideas, with concepts, with resources, with templates that are going to help you create your best year ever. You're going to create your 2020 sales and marketing plan, and I highly recommend you do this. The classes are live and they're recorded, so no matter whether you can make it live or not, sign up anyway. Even if it's later than these dates and you think, oh no, I missed it. You didn't. Go sign up right now. They're still there. You can still jump in. 2020plan.gilbertstudios.com. And make sure to go check out my free video workshop, mywebsitesafari.com. This is a 7-part video series, totally free. Each video is less than 10 minutes long, allowing you to take a little bite out of improving your website one piece at a time, which ultimately is improving your whole business one bite at a time. And let me know what questions you have. Let me know how I can support you in the weeks to come. Remember, there is no show next week, the first week of December. I know that for sure. I'm not going to do a show. But I invite you, please still ask me those questions so that I can put together these shows in the weeks to come. I'm so excited when we get questions being asked because that means I get to answer them and I get to give you all the good information. And then I invite your follow-up questions. What else do you need to know about? So check out all the links and details at AskAWebGeek.com. We would love for you to invite your friends to come join us. Join us in the Facebook group. That's where we record the show live, and that's where all the questions are asked and answered. Then subscribe on YouTube. Would love it if you'd subscribe on YouTube. Still looking for my first 100 subscribers there. And join us on one of the podcasts. If you're a podcast listener, there's links and details on the website, AskAWebGeek.com. You can jump over to Apple, jump over to Google. If you have another podcast player you use, search for us there, Ask A Web Geek. Let me know if you don't find it. Let me know if you do find it. But especially let me know if you don't find it, because I want to make sure it's available for you. Everything's at AskAWebGeek.com. All of our previous 17 episodes, all the videos, all the audio files. You're welcome to download those audio files, put them somewhere convenient for you to listen to. I've got links and buttons and details and resources all available at AskAWebGeek.com. I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a really, really happy Thanksgiving with your family. Really reflect on how grateful you are over this last year, how fortunate we are to live in this amazing country that we do, or wherever you are in the world. Be grateful for what you have and where you have it, and for your family. We're so blessed. Shout out to our military who sacrifices themselves and their families for our freedom. Really appreciate what you've done to protect our country. and I'm so grateful to be part of your life and be part of your community. Please let me know how I can support you in the weeks to come. Come to AskAWebGeek.com, join our Facebook group, ask any questions you have. Please let me know how I can support you. Looking forward to answering more of these questions in the weeks to come. Wishing you a very wonderful and happy Website Wednesday, and we'll see you next week in the web jungle. Remember, at Gilbert Studios, we understand the internet is a jungle. It's too easy to get lost and go down the wrong path, find yourself someplace you didn't mean to go, a hidden trap, a hidden pathway, and you've gotten yourself lost. Instead, you want to join up with a tribe of people and hire a well-trained guide to lead you through and get you where you want to go. God bless you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week, in 2 weeks, in the web jungle. Bye-bye for now. Start streaming. Doot, doot, doot. Internet's a jungle. Roar.